And so welcome to this week's edition. He's a school teacher, by the way. If he had a yardstick, he would rap you on the knuckles with it.
I'll see you after the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Something's going to go on your permanent record. So welcome to this week's edition of Conversations in American Democracy. And as usual, we'll begin with a Constitution Minute. Kurt McCauley.
We're on Amendment 9. Anybody want to guess? It's not when you hear about it. Yeah? No? No guesses?
No guesses.
And I knew in advance it was going to be 9. I didn't even look it up.
The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained. That's going to be retained by the people. The enumeration of the Constitution. Everybody understands that? Right?
Yeah, just because there aren't certain rights listed doesn't
Right.
mean they're
Right.
not protected. No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No. Everybody remember
That's
that?
a short one.
Keep that in mind. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
well,
Yeah.
hold on.
Mike Barger has for us the.
Just one quick thing.
Yeah, please.
Can we get a large print version of the Constitution?
Yeah, maybe that's what we should do. Yeah, but yeah. Okay, yeah. Good point. Okay, Mike Barger has got our questions from the Citizenship Test. So, Mike, what are you?
Okay, I've got 3 because they're kind of shorter.
Please.
The number 1 here is the idea of self-government is in the first 3 words of the Constitution. What are these words?
We the people.
Yeah.
I thought this would be simple for us.
Yeah.
For a change.
And so the question is, has the Republican Party co-opted those? They say, well, we're the big constitutionalists, and we the people belongs to. If you see "we the people" on the back of a pickup truck, on the back of a pickup truck, maybe on the back of a Volkswagen, would you say that that's a Republican or a Democrat?
Yeah, that's good. It's a call. Volkswagen with those words.
Yeah,
Well, a pickup truck would be an easy call.
Right, okay. Democrats don't drive pickup trucks. Do you drive a pickup truck?
I do.
He does. Pickup truck.
I'm from Oregon. So
Yeah, right.
Plenty of Democrats.
Yeah.
What do we call the first 10 amendments of the Constitution?
Good ideas.
That could be. Very good.
Thanks, Teach.
Good.
And then, what is one right or freedom from the First Amendment? So, there's like 5 different
Religion.
answers, but
Freedom of
that's
speech.
one.
Freedom of press.
Yep,
Assembly,
yep,
And freedom of speech.
the petition,
Yeah.
petition for
and
grievances.
petition the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Good job today.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
Although
you
not
made it easy.
specifically mentioned, I think freedom from religion is also covered.
Yeah, but that's only by court. I've dealt with that. Then
Oh,
it says,
yeah.
yeah. It says so. Make note, but do non-religious people have the same protections as people of different religions? And
Right.
that's the language of the Constitution's a little iffy, but
It's
the
a little gray
the
in that
courts have
area,
said
but
you
it's
have the
not-
freedom not to believe at all,
Right.
and that doesn't. The First Amendment doesn't really discuss that.
It doesn't
Anyway,
discuss that specifically,
right?
but
But
it's-
you have the
yeah.
freedom not to believe at all. That's. I'm delighted to be able to introduce Eric Yonce. We have not always been able to field good, effective candidates to run for Congress, and what has been gerrymandered into a safe district for Republicans, and we all know that every vote in the House of Representatives counts. And if we can diminish the Republican majority by even 1, we will have done our job. In fact, whether the majority is Republican, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters, and what goes on in Broward County or in Des Moines, Iowa, or in Nashua, New Hampshire, it doesn't matter. Our job is to do it here for our neighbor. And one of the names that you'll see on the ballot on August the 18th is Eric Yonce. So I'd like to introduce you. If you'll tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, Eric Yonce. I have grown up over in Ocala, and I have worked and grown up basically all around this district for my life. I currently live in Ormond Beach. I had a 22 plus year career in retail management for big box retail. So think Target, Toys R Us, Dick's Sporting Goods. Most recently, I was managing down in Daytona Beach at the Dick's Sporting Goods store. I, gained a lot. I grew up in retail, so I didn't necessarily I did some schooling and stuff, but my education, everything that I've have kind of developed in life has come from my time of just leading different groups of people and working with different organizations and so forth. I left that field about 4 years ago. I took a little hike for a little while and hiked the Appalachian Trail, and then I really took some time at that point of my life to figure out what I was really wanting to do and where I wanted that direction to lead. I knew I wanted to get something into public service and to start having my impact, but I did not know what that looked like. For many years, I thought I would follow after my father. He was in law enforcement for his entire life, but that really wasn't where that went. So that's kind of where I started thinking about it. And now I have my own small business right now, and I've really have just made the decision of just watching everything that's going on and seeing how we have lost our voice within our government. And it's been going on for years. If you really think about it, it's not just recently. One can make arguments for decades that our voice has slowly been eroding, and that voice is within the House of Representatives. And that's where I can no longer just sit back and see how we just have no representation. And that's where also seeing Randy Fine get elected and seeing this last election, how close, we came to kind of fighting back against that. It just gave me more of an idea to get involved in this upcoming election against him. I really hold a firm belief that, like I said, we have lost our voice within our government, and that comes from really the piece of the corporate interests that are across and controlling everybody. And we really need a lot of different things to happen, and we need to change a lot of different things. But the number one thing I really feel that needs to make a change is just the money behind our political system. And then we could start having true conversations about what we as constituents and voters can ask and what a representative can actually do and have a true and honest conversation when it comes to our government. That's kind of a quick nutshell of it, I guess you could say.
Anybody have questions? I'd like to, so go ahead, Kathy.
Have you ever held office?
I have not. No, like I've said, I've just worked my entire life. So I have just worked in retail, been around people, and I've been involved in different kind of organizations through retail, like reaching out to different community groups, but nothing as far as with an office. No.
Dave, you want?
Yeah, Eric, as I'm sure you're aware, Flagler 06 is probably the reddest district in Florida.
Yes.
And in order for a Democrat to win, you're going to have to cover a very large percentage of the NPAs and possibly moderate Republicans if they're not extinct by now. But you're going to have, what would you have to say to them that's not going to vote for a Democrat just because you're a Democrat?
Oh yeah, I'm already feeling that.
Okay, you're working on that.
As soon as I put something out, I don't say much about my party out there as far as what party I am. And it's for that reason. It's because I want people to look at what material or what I'm saying, as opposed to just labeling me, oh, you're a Democrat and this is how you're going to think.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to break that. I read an article the other day from Politico that said over the last, I think it was probably 6 years, of how the messaging from the Democrat Party has changed from the working class, where we don't even mention anything about a working class or tax reform or anything like that, and it's all about social issues, and that has left a group of people to think that no one's
unrepresented.
Yes.
Unrepresented.
For me, as just personally, I grew up a conservative, very conservative household out of Ocala. All of my friends, very Republican. I grew up around that, and I've probably once I was in my mid-20s, I just felt very disconnected from that and trying to find where that footing stands. And that's where I did switch parties and have felt, you know, I hate the fact of I could feel very fiscally conservative about things, but also have a very open and welcoming, like we need equal rights and we need all of those things, but unfortunately you can't have that view and be in the Conservative Party or in the Republican Party. And I think it's just sharing that message that the Democrat Party has lost its voice as far as like speaking up for the working class and the middle class, and we need to find that back again. And I feel like I can display that message, and I just needing to talk to people as far, especially within the conservative and MAGA right. Like, as soon as you start just breaking things down to a different level and not getting upset about what they're talking about, kind of letting them talk and then kind of poke holes and whatnot, you usually can change some. They're not all the time. I mean, you're fine. Like, I don't need their vote.
You are addressing outside the Democratic Party. That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I see as being absolutely necessary.
It's key. It really is key. And the frustrating thing for me right now, just to be totally honest and transparent, is there is pushback from the Democrat Party of going that route as well. And we're not going to make any progress within this district if we do that, because there is a group of people that don't feel connected.
Good, thank you.
You have a guest out here, do you want him to come in?
Yeah.
On the subject of money, it's mind-blowing how much you need to raise to run
crazy.
a campaign. What kind of backing do you have at this point?
Right now, friends and family. Yeah, I mean, I'm about 2 months into this. I have purposely been just going at my pace so that way I can feel comfortable in this. And that's why we also have a long period of time as well. I mean, and trust me, I know, like, Randy Fine already has a couple $1 million stored up, you know, and that's going to be a battle. But the money piece, I feel, will come as messaging and different time periods kind of go through. Yeah.
How much money does it take?
I mean, just to get on the ballot, so like, say to get on the ballot for the August primary, I either need to pay just under $11,000 to the state or get just around 6,000 signatures. So that's just to get on the ballot. And then on top of everything else as far as marketing and advertising and all that other stuff. Like,
That's where the big money comes in.
yeah.
So are you going the petition route? Are you paying the fee?
I'm going the petition route right now, but I would love to just pay the fee and be done with that, especially with the redistricting and how that looks like. From what I have seen, there was a preliminary, has everyone seen the preliminary map that the Florida House set out? It's basically turned this now into District 5.
Oh.
So if you look up Florida House like redistricting map, essentially they've made District 6 this little enclave around Randy Fine where he lives, so he doesn't have to worry about living within his district. He will, because they're going to make that. And then District 5 becomes this area on over to Ocala, and it looks like it takes on Ocala rather than going around it. So I've heard different things with the petitions. I would rather be able to pay and not even have to worry about it. That way there's nothing that can be fought back with the petition things as all of this kind of goes through a mess.
That's a lot of money.
Well, that's a lot of money, but how much will it take? How much does Randy Fine have? He's got.
I mean, the last report, he had a few million in the account already.
Yeah.
But now, the previous Democratic candidate was almost successful here, raised 10 million, and it didn't do any good.
Yeah.
Correct.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah.
10 million and it didn't do any good, so.
And
Right.
Got us
Trump,
closer.
Yeah.
Got us closer.
Got us close.
I think what you have to think about, and this is the other piece, like if that redistricting does happen, then this district, District 5, if that's what it ends up being numbered, basically goes against all new candidates. So then you have the 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans that are running for District 5 right now, or District 6, that are separate from Randy Fine. 2 of them are out of Flagler County, one's in Lake County, and then there's the 2 Democrats. So depending on how things are cut, and if like people live within the district and that's how they want to run, this could then end up being a new Democrat field and a new Republican field with the 2 people out of Flagler County. So then that changes the dynamic, and you don't have to, like, you're not up against Randy Fine, but you're up against some new Republican voices.
Ken, you want to?
I was wondering, do you have a team assembled yet? Do you have a treasurer? This is just the
Campaign
beginning.
manager.
Campaign manager.
I'm looking for that. Like I said, I've been kind of doing this at my own pace right now because I want to feel comfortable. I'm very stubborn, so I want to make sure I'm understanding what the processes are and what that entails. But yes, I also, and especially lately with everything like starting to hit the ground running a little bit, and yeah, like things can get overlooked if I don't have those people in place. It's just a matter of finding the right people, which I'm starting to meet. But yes, I still need to set those up. But I also need to raise money to be able to pay them too. So
Earlier this year, I've run into this group. Bernie Sanders had given us 3 different education sources that are free to Democrats. Actually, it's free to independents or Democrats that you may be interested. I don't remember what they are. If anybody else has, wrote those down.
okay,
But they're online courses that may be of interest to you
that'd be great.
or be of help to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the frustrating part so far is there's help out there, but a lot of the Democrat-led help really focuses on local and state races to build up like a pool. They're not really there until you get named as after the primary to support you as far as in a federal race like this, which is tough.
Yeah.
Makes things difficult.
So you will be running as a Democrat or an MPA?
Democrat. Yeah, I'm a registered Democrat, so.
Where do you diverge the most, do you think, from the Democratic Party line? What in the Democratic party platform makes you most uncomfortable?
I mean, for me, it's even tough for me to say it because I worry about how it sounds, but I feel like we've gone too far with social issues, and they're important and we need to fight for them. But at the same time, there's been, I think it's gotten tough to even have true conversations about different issues and how they even affect, say, somebody that is very conservative and Republican and they've grown up that way, and it's a different conversation, but we don't allow for those conversations to be had. And I think that's been my toughest kind of part of where I've gone with the party.
So your campaign's going to be more speaking to economics and the financial future.
I think that's the most important thing right now. Especially as we've seen everything with the big beautiful bill and things like that. There's major impacts, and I think that's the way to also get a message out there of the things you're voting for as, say, a Republican or whatever it may be. You're having impacts now, and I think the more we discuss that and just be real about what those impacts are, people start understanding and feeling them. They're going to be feeling them. So I'd rather be a voice that's discussing those and doing it in a way that's rational. It's I just recently did a video on overdevelopment in the state, and it's leading to massive flooding and other impacts that we're feeling for anybody that's around in these housing developments, right? Well, that is in a direct response to corporate money that is within the state. Our state is ran by developers.
Right.
And Randy Fine was a part of that as he was part of the state legislature. So the money just continues to dictate how we are living, and we just have to keep spreading that message. And even though it makes it sound like I'm a socialist or whatever label will be put out there on it, It's
Good. How do you feel about property taxes?
You know, like, I hate property taxes. You know, I hate when they go up as much as they have. Especially if I recently bought a house and I bought it from somebody that lived there for many years and had their, like, I think they had a $700 property tax.
Been there.
And then I got nailed with the increase. They're tough, but they also serve a huge purpose within our communities, and they pay for a lot of services that if we didn't have property taxes, like, where are we going to get that money from? I'm curious to see what this looks like from the governor and how this gets put out there. But yeah, like, I would love to be able to reduce them, and I think that conversation needs to happen. Yeah.
Well, how about charter schools and public schools?
I've been learning more and more about that. You know, I don't have children, so as far as, like, with the education system, I look back at what I went through in school. But last night I did attend a rally or a meeting with David Jolly. So he was talking about different things with the charter schools, and one thing I did not understand or did not know previous to this is what he said is right now the charter schools in the state do not have to abide by the same regulations that the public schools do.
Yeah.
And that's not okay, you know, and if somebody's not, if they're falling behind then in the charter schools, then it's on the burden of the public school system to raise them back up. We can't have that.
Or they close their doors.
Correct. And stop teaching different programs and ban certain books. Like, it's, our education system's in peril, and I don't think charter schools is the answer for that.
I personally can't believe we actually created a two-system education. My experience, I was really awakened because I went through the public, I first went as a Catholic and then I went to the public school system. And then later in my life, I served in the Philippines where I was very Catholic controlled, so there was no public school system. And then I put a young lady over there through school because she only finished second grade because her parents could afford tuition for Catholic school. And was fortunate enough that she reached out to me from the Philippines, and I sent her to beauty school, and now she works in Dubai 6 months out of the year, and she let me know that, and she was so happy that I gave her that gift.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm opposed to the two system, and I'm also opposed to the separation of church and state, opposing elements going on, and I don't know if any of you watch Netflix called The Family.
You have to speak up, there are older
Yeah.
people here.
I'm sorry, because I have my hearing aid in and I can hear myself really loud.
There are old people here, and we have microphones.
All right, so, and my position, but I know you're going through, because I'm, you know, I just signed up for the County Commission District 2. Mine's a little less funding, but I'm gonna go through the process to do the petition. Your petitions are probably much greater. I may only have to do 900 and some, but I want to get out there because I want to meet people personally, give them my view. I'm an independent. I lean more Democrat. I used to be a Democrat, and but I lean more Democrat, and I'm basically more of a moderate Democrat, and it sounds like that's what you're kind of like. You're kind of more of a moderate, and my experience, because I'm a younger man here. I noticed in politics, I went in the Navy when Ronald Reagan was president. So I got like 2 pay raises, you know, we're building the military. And what I noticed how Reagan was championing through policies and everything is because at that time when Gingrich was Speaker of the House, there was more moderates, okay? And now we lost the moderates. And both parties condemn their moderates. They don't let them, you know, they basically, you know, cut their knees off. And then that's the experience So I'm going to try to bring them up.
Skunks.
Yeah.
Yellow lines and skunks.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what's in the middle of the road.
But I'm glad that I was invited because I didn't know this was going to be a forum. And this is great because I'm going to learn something from you on a different level.
Let's talk for a minute before you leave, and I'll make sure you're here every Wednesday.
Yeah.
I taught at Whitney Labs for 12 years prior to coming here, basically was tossed on the heap when COVID came through. And I haven't gone back, but I had lots of conflicts with a lot of the charter schools that came, because we taught kids, you know, and a lot of them would confront me or confront anybody when I would say things about the earth being more than 10,000 years old. And I mean, this is tough stuff. I mean, these charter schools came in and they paid money. They paid money to go to Whitney. You know what I'm talking about, Whitney Labs? It's part of Marineland, or it's part of the University of Florida over at Marineland. And we used to teach, well, they still do, marine biology, you know, and the whole idea of where oxygen comes from. Where does it come from? Anyway, we'll get it. But
They challenged you on a 10,000-year-old?
yeah, they did. And I was, you know, they had to say things to me because I wasn't going to take this with the kids. And I told them, I said, we're teaching science here.
Right.
And science doesn't talk about 10,000 years.
And we are paying for their education in charter schools.
Exactly.
And private schools to a degree as well. But yeah.
There's a couple up in Jacksonville which are really sharp. International something, I don't know, baccalaureate.
Yeah, right.
I don't. You probably heard of them and stuff like that. But they're constantly doing this, you know. And it's very.
Al was gonna-
Just the general idea, I might have mentioned this in here before, forgive me for those of you who have heard this before, but in terms of charter schools, I had a discussion with a neighbor. I have an background in education. I had a chat with a neighbor before, and they were telling me how great the charter schools were, and how, you know, the public schools are terrible, and charter schools. So my first question was, I asked them, I said, did you know that a charter school doesn't have to accept all the students, that they can deny entry to students? And he wasn't aware of that. And I said, so some of the ones that you're seeing in terms of success that you might be seeing, it's not really a fair field that they're playing on, but actually the success is very up and down. They're probably not that much worse, or certainly not better than the public schools. But that aside, that depends upon where you do your research and where you get your information. But I'll give you a very, very simple concept. And I said to him, how does a kid get into a charter school? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm in 3rd grade, and now they're opening a charter school in the school that I'm in. How does that kid get into that school? So he said, well, I guess the parent applies. I said, stop. I'm done. You mean you have to have a parent who knows that there's going to be a charter school and wants their child in it. That's the kid that's going to go to that charter school. I said, that kind of sways things a little just by the way it's created. I said, so you know who's not going to go to the charter school? De facto. I said, so in terms of what public education is mandated to supply to handicapped children, to disruptive children, to neurologically impaired children, that charter schools are not mandated to deal with, you have to kind of understand how to understand charter schools. That being said, I mean, that's the side from the public school teacher that wants to see the public schools keep going. The other side of it is, there is very, very valid research that shows, simply, I worked in a public school, uniforms improve academic performance. I mean, you may hate the idea, you think it's like the Boy Scouts or whatever else, but the uniform could be a school t-shirt and jeans. It doesn't matter what the uniform is, but a uniform in school helps to do that. You can't do that in a public school. You can make simple changes like that in the charter school. So charter schools have some great advantages, and if you're the kind of parent that is going to be on top of that kind of thing, it can be very beneficial to you. But when you pull back at the broad view, yeah, it's very good for some people. But disadvantaging public schools at large is very bad for lots of people. sorry about
So
the,
that's
I'm
somebody
sorry.
in general.
Okay.
Sorry.
By the way, so the major charter school in Flagler County is
Imagine.
Imagine School, and its scores compared to the public schools surrounding
I don't know.
are the same or no better, certainly no better.
Yeah,
And in
similar.
some cases worse. So that,
And here's where the battery on the video camera died. So, no more video. Fortunately, the audio recording continued until the end. And, with some creative still image editing, we'll make it through. Thank you. Enjoy.
Wasn't there just a discussion recently about funding being available for Christian academies, but not for Muslim?
yeah, well, that's.
Right, so how does all this play out?
Yeah. It should be adherence, and you need to know that Article 9 of the Florida Constitution, Section 1, demands that, it says that the primary interest of the state is a system of free public, that's 1A, system of free public education, universal free public education, that's high quality, safe and secure for the parent. And don't take my word for that. Go look at Article 9 of the Florida Constitution, one system of free public education. But now the state has, and in the private school area, it's propelled by, I believe, the church. And we can talk about the voucher system and the scholarship funding organization, largely Step Up for Students, that funds 81% of the funding that they do goes to private religious schools that teach that the world is 10,000 years old. And that, I would say, and that Adam and Eve rode their dinosaurs to church every Sunday. And we're paying for that through these vouchers. And by the way, both the charter schools and the private schools do not need to require teachers to have a degree in education, even to be college graduates. And I've talked about, and I've invited here actually, Leslie Postal, writes for the Orlando Sentinel.
How do they get certified?
By the way, state legislation says we can't interfere in the individual running or the curriculum or what they teach.
They don't have to be.
They don't have to.
Right.
So this Leslie Postal did an expose on private schools that were funded by vouchers, and she's been trying to get an interview with a principal of one of these schools in the Pine Lake section of Orlando, and kept calling and calling until she finally reached somebody in the state and said, "Oh, he's not here today. He's at school." He says, "Your school?" Says, "No, he's at Valencia College." He says, "Oh, what's he studying at Valencia College?" He's studying, is the principal, he's studying for his AA degree.
Wow.
Okay, so you do not need a college degree to be the principal of a private school. Anyway, Ken,
All right, so if, with all this being said, and given the form of what this conversation is about, how can the state mandate, recommend, or allocate any type of funds when our basic constitution is separation of church and state? Because you said that a lot of these voucher charter schools are religious based or backed. Haven't we crossed that line of the separation of church and state?
Yes.
yeah. Well, but we've also crossed the line on who's in charge of tariffs.
Yeah,
We've crossed the line on who
on
can
the
knock down the
president
west wing of
committing
the
murder in
White
Caribbean.
House. We've crossed the Constitution.
Right.
The law
All
of
kinds
the
of
land is
lines
being
are being
shredded
crossed.
before our
So
very eyes.
how come the Department of Education or the public school institution in itself hasn't attempted to bring a legal suit against either the federal or each state for providing or allocating any funds to any school not public and or religiously affiliated?
Because the Supreme Court said that that should be decided by the states, and Oklahoma and some other states out there have decided that they can be, it's okay to give money to religious schools.
It almost
That's
But that's-
why.
But that's,
But you're, so
that's in the
that's
state.
the answer. That's because
So you really
the Supreme Court
Supreme Court,
has said it's up to the states, that's why.
And the response to that should have been, then we cannot give the states money because it violates the US Constitution.
right?
Right.
That would be the response.
That should be.
Right.
Should be, but yeah.
It almost seems to me that it's more important to focus on the state representatives than the federal, because that's where you're gonna affect change on
right.
this level
Yeah.
In the
that we're
state.
discussing. Because they're gonna do what they want because they have the majority.
Right.
And the Supreme Court said they could.
Exactly.
Well, you gotta think like how the president right now is basically just doing away with the Department of Education.
Yeah.
On purpose to put it to the states. So
Yeah.
say if like I win next year and get into office, the Department of Education may not even be there for federal oversight because it's just gonna be dismantled. So it's, yeah, like we have to focus also on the states, and that's where,
Did you ever think about running on the state level?
yeah, that's like the next step.
Okay.
This
Well,
isn't working.
That's what, why did you decide Congress rather than a local county seat or a municipal seat or an education,
Gotta
board
go
of
big or go
education?
home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all stems from Randy Fine. I hate to even continue to say his name, but like that, it disgusts me that he represents me and my family and anyone that I have any close relation to, and that's the biggest driver.
So if you have $10 million in your account of a campaign, how much of it will you devote to touting your own position and point of view? And how much of it will you devote to pointing out Randy Fine as anti-LGBTQ, anti-women's
I think
rights?
he's doing that enough on his own, and it's just putting his same words out there and people will see it. I think he's doing a good job of that for himself. And where he's not, like, it's very easy to show somebody. It won't take a lot of money just to put like a video on a tablet and say, just watch this, and that way you can see who he is. I think the biggest thing is just putting my word out there, but also just a different idea of like what a Democrat can stand for again, and that it can be inclusive across all spectrums is the key, not necessarily focusing on him. He's ruining himself.
I just want to ask you, are you aware of the Midas Touch broadcast?
Yeah,
Do you follow it?
not as religiously, but I follow some of it.
Explain what it is, technically.
Okay, so it's a new podcast that started, and it's
It's called the Midas.
Midas Touch, and it's got different podcasts on it. It's got even a lawyer that has challenged the Supreme Court several times, which is an honor for a lawyer to ever get that chance. Okay, so he talks about legal terms, and he predicted early on that the Comey case would be squashed, and the case up in New York would be squashed, because he's looking at the real factual, and he says it in the layman's terms that we can understand as a lawyer, because he's been in front of the Supreme Court and how to present these cases. And so he early on said that these things are going to be squashed, even though the administration has the presidential seal behind it. But also Midas Touch has bumped out Joe Rogan. They've surpassed them. Wow. They're getting strength, and they got a lot, and I heard you say this earlier, they got a lot of podcasters that do debating, and they do very well in debating on a lot of these issues that we're talking about, and they go on CNN, not on CNN, they actually go on Fox at times, and Fox shuts down the program because the commentator is actually winning the argument, and it's really, really good, and I'm watching it too, so I can learn how to debate better, because I'm not a really good debater, and I get fumbled up because of, my mind gets scrambled with all this other stuff, and sometimes your opposition will throw you off by changing the subject, but these guys engage right back on and say, no, you're not going there, we're staying here first, and really well.
That's how you have to deal with MAGA.
Yes.
When they try to distract us, no, that's not the subject.
Yes.
We can have that subject later if you want,
Yes.
but right now, this is the
They
subject.
do very well bringing it back.
You have to bring
You gotta
it
bring
back.
it back.
You have to bring it back.
And that's a good debater when you can do that. Yeah.
Margaret Renner is very good at that on Face the Nation.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah, Face the Nation, that's a good
Margaret
one.
Renner is very good at that.
But please, I would ask you all to look at that program, and it's a lot of good commentators on it. They're really good. I mean, they're really good at it.
You know what it is, all those unemployed lawyers.
Yeah. Well, not all were lawyers, but I mean, there's guys in their 20s, and they go on Fox and they destroy a gentleman at my age, your age. They destroy them, and I'm like taken back. I'm like, good for you, a generation younger than us, really giving a good debate. I mean, that's good. I mean, and knows the facts and knows, you know, the state statutes. That's where they get fumbled too. When you start throwing state statutes at them, like we just said here, this is what it says, and this is what the Constitution says. They get fumbled. They don't like to talk about that. They want to get off that narrative.
They don't want facts.
They want facts.
Yeah.
Before this started, we were talking over here.
Yeah.
They are trained simply to keep the argument moving.
Mm-hmm.
They're not interested in resolving differences or understanding your side. They are trained mentally to keep the argument going, no matter what. Just keep the argument going.
Well, and they're
No
not
resolution
interested-
and no resolution.
They're not interested in nuance.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
That's where all of the meat
Yeah.
lies in the
Mhm.
nuance.
They don't understand nuance, yeah.
And they immediately go attack their character then. You know?
Well, they
Yeah.
always need an enemy. I feel like that's
Yes,
the biggest
yeah,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
There's always
But
has
that's
to
been
be
going
an
on for
enemy.
70 years.
Yes.
That's the problem I have with the Democratic Party, okay?
I mean, it's across the
They
board.
They ran away from communism, and then they ran away from socialism, then they ran away from liberalism, because the Republicans keep saying, that's a bad word, you can't use that word. I'm a socialist, I don't give a damn if they know it or not. But they went, and same way, they're doing the same thing with liberalism now.
Yeah.
They're gonna go after progressives if they haven't already, because progressive's gonna be a bad word.
Pretty much. They've
Yeah.
already tied
I
progressives.
said, I'm a
to
socialist, you can even call me a communist, I'm okay with that.
Kirk,
Charlie Kirk. What are we gonna do about this? I mean, they want to name post offices and all this crap over a guy. I didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was.
I didn't either.
Yeah, a lot of
And then we
people-
sat down and we listened to it. And it was like, this guy sounds like a Nazi, a neo-Nazi.
He was, that's what he was.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was until he was killed.
yeah.
Because I don't listen to that stuff. And
No,
then
I-
everybody else is up in arms. And he's supposedly all free speech, but if you say anything remotely negative, you're shut down.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, if
That
you
I-
can, you can.
I think that's a red herring that was thrown to distract. at the-
Right, another distraction.
And they just put it, you know, at the moment that he was shot or killed, however you wanna phrase it, that was something they could rally around.
Exactly, yeah.
This naming streets and stuff, and mandating school
They're
cleaning
trying to
and
get you to go after them for
go
that.
after that.
Ignore them.
Ignore Epstein.
When you get in
Ignore what's
power,
going
change
on.
the street names back to what they were after you're in power.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, just ignore them.
Stay the mainline.
Right.
I might disagree, but to let them go ahead and name the streets Charlie Kirk, and we accept it for every street that they'll name Epstein.
That's what I was
And
having.
and we've talked about the fact that we need to end every sentence with the word
Right,
Epstein.
Epstein. I'm going along with that.
So much is as you say, to keep the argument going, and so much is to
Kirk-
distract
Kirk and
us
Epstein
from
Highway.
Epstein, from.
There you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kirk and Epstein Byway.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a good documentary on how Kurt was brought up. So if you watch the Netflix, The Family, it shows how about 80 years ago, every year when a president gets elected, we have the breakfast with the president with the religious side of Christianity, and that was started with a secret organization which has a apartment building in New York, DC, and Mike Johnson actually lives there, okay? He's actually staying in that facility. And there was a guy that actually infiltrated that, and it's a good documentary. It shows you how this all started. He's a protege, Kurt, of this program, and the reason he went to college campus in the documentary is because their movement now is to change the youth. They need to get the youth, okay? And that's why he went after
Hitler's playbook.
Yeah, he went after the freshmen, and while these kids were going through exchanging classes, and they heard this guy speaking, and then they would engage, but they're freshmen. Now, when you had seniors or professors stop by and argue with them, the show was shut down, okay, because now they took the show away, and then they would end the show. So it was about, their goal was to build their base with the youth now, and listen, good for them. They're doing a better job of doing it, and
They've been doing a
need,
better
you know.
job for decades.
Yes, they're doing a better job, and we're failing, and again, the reason why I left as a Democrat, I'm a very big labor guy. I come from I was on the highway labor crew for labor. I was a pipe fitter, I was a steel worker, and then my last job was a firefighter. I retired as a union firefighter. But I left as a steel worker when, unfortunately, Clinton signed the NAFTA bill. And I went into the union hall and I screamed. And I said, I'm done. And my position there was, we need to break away from this two-party system and get a labor party.
It was a three-party system, or a four-party system, or a five-party system. I'm okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so, like they have in Europe, they have a labor
Right,
party.
and the only reason a two-party system is necessary in the United States is for presidential elections. You can have 3 or 4 or 5 different parties in the House of Representatives, okay? And I think we would be a stronger nation if we did. The two-party system for president, that's a problem, but it's not a problem for the House of Representatives. It's not a problem for the Senate, so.
Yeah, but we still need to change laws.
It only applies to the House, to the presidency.
Yeah, we still need to change the laws.
It's a difference between a parliamentary.
Okay, yeah,
Yes,
let's go
yeah,
to
yeah.
Kurt, and then I want to bring it back to
Yeah.
Eric Yonce, since we have him here today. But go ahead, Kurt.
Well, that type of system is because I studied government in college. It is a parliamentary system, and it's basically somewhat different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can still do it with a Republican government, and we can do it within our family. It's not something we can't do. Yeah.
So,
But I don't. It's like Washington said, no parties.
Right, yeah.
yeah.
He was opposed to political parties altogether.
So Eric Yonce, what can we as individuals do to help your campaign?
That's a good question.
A couple things. One, donations, contributions, petitions, but the biggest thing is also just share. Like, share who I am, share any, like, my website, any social media. That's the biggest thing that anybody could do right now is anything that I put out, just try to share it amongst anyone you know.
Are you on Facebook, Instagram, all that?
I'm on all of it. I'm not on like some of the new ones.
Right.
I mean, I'm younger, but like I try to get away from social media, and now I'm having to get back into social media, and it drives me crazy. But yes, Facebook, Instagram. I'm just on X just to troll Randy Fine.
Do you have anything out on YouTube or anything like that?
I have a YouTube channel started. I haven't put much on there
Okay.
yet. But yeah. But yeah, that's the biggest thing I could ask for is just sharing and getting who I am out there to as many people. And I love groups like this, so like any groups that I can get out in front of and meet and interact with, I'll welcome it.
How do we find your website, on which I know there's a place to sign up for regular emails?
Yeah, so it's yonceforcongress.com, and that's YONCE for congress.com. And that has, like, you can join a mailing list, and also my social media links are on there as well.
And where can we get petitions? Do you have petitions
I
filled in?
have some here, yeah, or
Okay.
if you want to email me.
I was just gonna say,
Pass them around.
it would
Yeah.
seem to me that you're gonna meet a lot of your constituents if you get out and try to get those 6,000 petitions,
Yeah,
which is gonna be beneficial.
And that's honestly the best thing that I've been trying to do is just talk to people and shake hands. Like, I could do all kinds of like random social media videos all I want, but that's not gonna get me out in front of just people right now,
Right.
regardless of like view and party.
If they redistrict for Randy Fine, where's that gonna put you?
So I live in Ormond Beach, so I don't know where that line would draw and divide
But
anything.
you don't have to live in the district to.
Correct, and quite honestly, like I am doing a lot of my campaigning and meeting people from Ormond North and over to Ocala, since I grew up in Ocala. Like that's been my kind of comfort. So quite honestly, I would switch the run for 5. Like if that's how it all shakes out, like I would put my focus on
When's
that.
that decision?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they've passed it on to the Florida Senate, and I think it's also facing some legal challenges, of course. And that's the last I've heard, is that there's some judges have rejected some things. So I do not know when they're trying to. I would assume, because like I have to qualify by April. So by April I have to have petitions or the $10,600 in. So I would, if you really think about it, it's probably going to be February and March. Like they're probably going to wait till as close to that time as possible, just to mess with people like myself that are coming in like as a grassroots campaign.
Would they allow you to
So
if they do it where they don't give you enough time to get new signatures,
so what
are they gonna
happens?
force you to just say, oh, you gotta pay the money, period?
Yeah, what would happen, so say if I do get enough signatures and it's all over the current District 6, right? If they redistrict, it turns into open signature petitions, however you word it. So then it doesn't matter where the signatures come from, as long as they are a valid
So you would get to
voter.
keep the ones the signatures you already got.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a benefit to it, for sure.
Are they planning to tell the public about this? Because
No.
this is the first
I hadn't heard about it.
heard
I hadn't heard
about
about it.
redistricting
Yeah,
here.
They're not.
No, this is the same part of why Texas is redistricting, and California is countering, and other states are adding a Republican.
And you think it
district.
doesn't necessarily matter in Florida because it's deep red, but it does. And how they are pocketing it, like they basically made Orlando just one little pocket of blue to try to like.
Newsom has already announced he don't need any more contributions, we're gonna win this.
Yeah.
So they're gonna
They're
redistrict
totally right,
California.
yeah. Which will add what, 2 seats, 3 seats?
5, I think they said.
Oh, is it
5 for
okay,
Democrats,
so it'll
yeah.
offset Texas.
Yeah.
But then there's North Carolina, and there are other states. that are-
Virginia's looking into
Is this
it.
any way to run the country?
No, it's not.
Didn't Newsom put that on the ballot?
He did first.
He
It's
put that on the
crazy.
ballot before he
Crazy
redistricted.
going on, yeah.
This here is, they're just deciding.
It does not have to go to the people in
doesn't.
Florida. I think it's a
Yeah,
legislative.
but California's constitution does not allow them to do this. That's what's on the ballot, is overriding their constitution for this one time to do a redistrict. That's what he said. He don't need any more contributions. We're gonna win that.
I mean, and the way I look at it,
But
like,
something like 74% of Californians support it, so.
Yeah.
Got it.
it doesn't change how I operate
Right.
and like come across and what I am just messaging that I'm trying to get out there. I think at the end of the day, I already know this is a deep red area, but there's also just people that have stopped voting because they don't feel that there's someone that would represent them. I know that's how I've felt over the years, is especially in this area, like you've lost track of that. So if there's that ability to reach those people and to get them back to being engaged, to being voters, then we don't have to worry about redistricting at all. Like we just.
Yeah, so it's a turnout. Is,
Did you say you're a small business owner now? What is your business?
So I renovate vintage Airstreams.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's neat.
So I just spent a lot of
Airstream
time in a little
trailers,
aluminum
RV
tube. And,
trailers.
So you're gonna take one on the road?
we've joked about it, yeah.
We should, and we
I know, it could be my campaign vehicle, or like if I do get elected, I'll just take it up to Washington and then.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have any wheels or tires left.
Yeah.
You took it up.
At any rate, thank you very much. We're grateful, and thank you all for being here. And stay tuned next week for the next episode of Conversations in American Democracy. We need to thank the Rotondo family and Suncoast Media for making this all possible. Okay, so look for it on YouTube. Look for it on YouTube and leave comments. And they count the number of people the number of hits they get. Every hit is important. Thank you.